the best price. And that may even be the thing that grabbed the attention. They're like, oh, dude, this guy's got an awesome price, man. Let's call him up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but what I want to do is, dude, you can beat me up on price all day long, but look, that's, $50, $500, $5,000, what's the difference, dude? What's
Right.
going to save you? Look, beat me up on service.
Right.
Beat me up on service. Look, I could lower my price. I could get lower price than anybody in the entire marketplace. But look, nobody is going to outservice you like I'm going to. So look, what can I do? What can I provide to bring along to outservice this? Look, maybe I'm going to drop by here and actually reservice you 3 times this year for the exact same price. Look, we charge an extra $4,000 for that package. I'm going to do that for you at no charge. Look, just to earn your business. And while we're thinking about it, hey, who do you know who would want a service like this?
I love it, man. Love it.
And
and it's funny.
You got to know the deal.
Right. And it's funny, Steve, is because, I can tell guys like you and I, we practice a lot, right? Like when I get up on stage, guys will always come up to me and they're like, man, you're so smooth, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, I've been practicing since I was 18 years old. I call it crazy office talk. And like when I would start doing cold calls, which I freaking love cold calling. When I would early on, I would literally sit in this office. I'm at Easy Pro today. I would sit in this office and I would talk to myself because no one knows the objections that DJ's going to hear better than DJ because I'm the one that's been hearing them.
Totally.
And so, I just love that, being able to, roll that off, man, and how you just slid that referral in there because I really do think it's second nature. It's kind of like when you're playing baseball, right? Like if you're playing shortstop and there's a runner on first, you're looking to turn 2. You're going to second base. It's second nature. You don't have to think about it.
Exactly.
Dude, so what's number 3?
So number 3, I would say, I guess it goes, right off basically what you talked about with like the practice. But what I would say is, look, get a mentor.
Yeah, man.
And that's what changed for me. And so when I had Grant Cardone was my mentor before I ever knew Grant Cardone.
Right.
Okay. Years before that. Let me tell you where people make mistakes with mentors, right? Because they try to use all these different people, right? And which is fine, totally fine. Because I read other books. Mm-hmm. I listen to other people's audios. I listen to podcasts all the time. But you got to understand a very specific school of thought, right? And if you read one book, who's to say that you actually understand that, right? And so if you're going to read a book about selling, dude, read it 5 times. Read it 6 times and then study it and like figure out, look, how does this actually apply to what I'm doing, so that you can take somebody's information and you can make it yours. You can make it your own to an understanding that's at a much higher level than just reading the book one time. Because look, when you read books, look, there's misunderstood words.
Right.
There's things that you don't get. And so what happens is that, look, you're just missing opportunity because you haven't taken one specific thing. Like if you look at a professional, you can look at athletes, you can look at doctors, look, man, they go down one deal, right? That doesn't mean that they're not doing other stuff, like probably Michael Jordan would be a good example. Dude, he was an awesome athlete, right? And then he went and tried the baseball thing. Yeah. Although he was pretty decent at baseball, dude, he wasn't that good, Right. And so that's why he had to come back, because he had been practicing the same deal for so long. He was the pro in that area. So I think that you got to take somebody's information, you got to bury yourself in that content, and you got to get so good at it. And that was the one thing that worked for me, and so that's what actually led me to come work for Grant. And then obviously, I went from swimming in the Kool-Aid to, just, I was
breathing,
plugged
man.
In. Yeah, I was plugged in. And that's really what you got to do.
Yeah.
And you've always got to practice. You've always got to drill. You've always got to rehearse. Because here's one thing that I'm going to tell you. It takes less than one day for even the top guys. And I know you can even you're a cold call guy. Yeah, you love it. You get excited about it. You've done a lot of study on it. And you can even tell me, dude, it takes less than one day to get rusty.
Yeah, absolutely.
Takes one fight with your wife, takes one fight with your kid to throw you off your game.
Get your mental game out. Yeah, man.
Exactly. You don't want to practice on your customers every day, man. If I'm out there knocking doors, if I'm following up on a big advertisement that I just ran, look, I need to have my game on every single day. And if that takes 10 minutes a day for you, or that takes 30 minutes a day for you to wake up and say, look, I'm gonna basically get my skills on. I'm gonna get my game on, because that's the one thing people don't want to do.
Yeah. And I tell guys a lot of times, and they're like, man, I'm so nervous about cold calls, blah, blah, blah. If you're in a service-based industry, it's not selling, like, guys like you and I mean, we sell an information product. there is no geographical barriers. We can call anybody. But for guys that, may be in Cincinnati or Indianapolis or whatever, I'll always tell them, I'm like, call property managers in Columbus. And if one of them says yes, call a local guy over there and just hook him up. Guess what? You just made a new friend. And you know what? That way, I remember, Steve, the third cold call I ever made, right? Like the first two don't really count because nobody answered the phone. The third one, I was 21. And so I picked up the phone. I'm like, all right, I'm calling these property managers. I just joined the apartment association, going through the list, pick up the phone, and this guy answers, and he was like, hello? And I'm like, yes, is the property manager there? And he was like, what are you selling, kid? And I was like, click, and I hung up the phone, man. I was like, abort. And so, I tell guys, it's okay in the very beginning. You're going to be uncomfortable. It's not going to come second nature. But guess what? The first time I ever grabbed a baseball bat and stepped in the batter's box, that was uncomfortable too. So, you just have to progress through that and get in love with like the progress. It's almost like working out, right? It's the progress, not perfection.
Well, if you're going to take anything, take something from this podcast that if you're taking notes from this podcast, write this down.
Which they should be.
Exactly. Frequency before good.
Right.
Frequency before good, because, look, it doesn't matter who it is, man. It doesn't matter what it is, what business it is. Look, you got to be frequent, and you've always got to be frequent. You've always got to be pitching. You've always got to be looking for opportunities, because opportunities are in front of you every single day.
Right.
And you can't, you got to be looking for them all the time. That's why, you messaged me 2 days ago, and you're like, hey man, I'm doing a podcast. I want to get you on. I said, hey dude, how soon can you do it?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's roll.
Let's do it, man. Let's take time out of the equation, And so that's what most people are doing. They're not taking time out of the equation for everything that they're doing. I mean, they're even setting appointments with people who are a week out. Maybe they talk to you on the phone, they cold call. Oh, good, I got an appointment with this guy. He can finally see me 7 days from now.
Right.
Dude, I'm going to lock that appointment down, and then I'm going to be like, hey, you know what, man? I'm actually going to be in your area tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hey, if I can make time to drop by, could I drop by to shake hands with you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to be around your place around 2 o'clock. Dude, that's, you got to take time out of the deal, because look what happens. You're going to call the guy in 7 days.
Something came up. Sorry,
he's going to put you off, dude. He had
got sick.
He forgot about, his kids, something, blah, blah, blah. Dude, when somebody's thinking about it, that's when you need to roll in. You need to take advantage in that, and go in for the deal, and then when you get there, drop by, man.
Yeah.
Maybe even show up.
Right.
Hey, man, I was in the area.
Yeah.
I wanted to drop by, man. Hey, appreciate you taking time with me next week. I just want to stop by.
Right. And I want to before we get off here real quick, I wanted to go back to something where you were talking about not everyone's ready to buy, and as we're on cold calling right now, I look at cold calling kind of like as a two-part thing. Yeah, it can close deals and make sales and stuff, but really I look at cold calling almost as a very efficient way to find qualified prospects, right? Like, I think a lot of times the guys go into cold calling with unreal expectations, right? Like, they expect to make 20 dials, set 5 appointments, and close 2 deals. And it's like, look, dude, if it was like that, everybody would be doing it.
Exactly. If you make 20 dials in a day, you're gonna be very disappointed. And what's gonna happen is you're gonna step back, and then you're gonna be like, what you see all over the internet right now is that cold calling is dead. It's like, dude, cold calling is not dead. I don't know if you're going to send this video out, but if you're looking at my place right now, dude, cold calling is not dead.
Cold calling paid for that, right?
Cold calling paid for everything that I have today.
Yeah.
Dude, you got to pick up the phone. And here's where people miss the opportunity, is that they don't do the math. And so when you can finally do the math, and you can actually look, what's it actually take? Have I really done the math to say, look, what does it really take? Because here's the real deal. Only 3% of the people are actually probably in the marketplace right now for your product or your service today. Mm-hmm. Okay, so how many people do you got to get in front of to find that 3%, right? There's another 10% of people who would maybe even consider that you even cold call, and they're like,
the thought.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe I would look at that. I don't even know if I look at it today, but maybe I would look at that.
Right.
Okay, there's probably another 10% of people who will be in the market for what you're doing in 6 months. Dude, they're just not even ready right now.
Yeah. Yep.
And so most people just aren't really even doing the math.
Yeah.
They're not doing the math. They don't know what it takes to get in front of somebody. They don't know how many times they got to follow up with somebody. They don't know that, look, man, I need to send out. And so how do most people get business from your site? Because I know you're connected with a big group. I mean, are they doing a lot of mailers still? Or are they doing a lot of?
Man, a lot, and a lot of them are still waiting on that inbound, right? They're worried about getting SEO to be the number one Google search, and that's why. And I'll tell you, I mean, I think Facebook ads in another 6 to 18 months, I don't know where the break will be, is going to change the game, because for selling like our residential services, house washes, roof cleaning, stuff like that. Look, man, I'm getting grandma scrolling. It's like grandkids, Bible study group, dirty house before and after picture. I'm in front of them when they're not even thinking about buying, but boom, it's top of mind. And now I'm not competing with 4 other guys on Google. And so that's why I tell the guys to figure out a way to get in front of your customer when no one else is. And that's why like cold calling goes right in with that. I don't know. I don't know how many of them are cold calling. I preach it to them every time I can get in front of them, because the 10 biggest jobs I've ever sold in my startup business. I started it with $300, college dropout. We've done over $2.5 million in sales. The 10 biggest jobs I've ever sold came from cold calling. And I'm like, what? I mean, that's like saying Jesus saved me. I mean, how much more information do you need to go make some cold calls, man?
No, I mean, I'm telling you, I personally don't do any type of advertisement. I could.
Yeah.
I could do a ton of it. But here's the one thing that I do know. I can go in and I can spend money on advertising, and I'll tell you the biggest thing about
that was part number 2. Check out part number 3 right here. Hope you guys are enjoying this.